Hey folks, how's it going? It's Mr. Murray coming to you with a Do Now video for Course 1 CP for Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Okay, so in this Do Now, we have this graph right here, negative x plus 2, x minus 3. I stole a graph from one of the worksheets, but doesn't necessarily mean that that graph, this has appeared on any of those worksheets. So what I want you to do, take a moment. I want you to make a table and a graph, and this should actually I would say H. Okay, make your table and your graph, plot your function, and then answer what is the domain, the range, the increasing, the decreasing, and the vertex. Okay, so take a moment, pause the video, get me the table, graph, and analysis. Then when you're ready, unpause, and we'll see if you got it. Okay, so now this is in, remember, this is in intercept form. And it's called intercept form because we can see the intercepts just by looking at it. So we have -2 for x and 3 for y. I'm sorry, -2 for x and 3 for x. My apologies. Because these are numbers, right, where if I plug them in, right, I get -2 plus 2. Well, that's 0. And so when you multiply by 0, you get 0. Same thing with 3. When I plug in 3 here, I get 3 minus 3 is 0. And I know that whenever you multiply by 0, you get 0. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in numbers between 2 and 3, -2 and 3. Okay, because we know that most likely the numbers in between are going to fit on the graph. Right, now we could try to find the middle. One thing I notice is the middle is not a whole number. It looks like it's about 1/2. So we'll see if that's right. I'm going to plug in the next number. I'm going to plug in -1. Okay, so I'm going to do -1 plus 2, which is 1. And I'm going to do -1 minus 3, which is -4. So it's -4 times 1, which is -4. But then this makes it a +4. Now I'm going to plug in 0. So 0 plus 2. Let's erase that real quick. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 minus 3 is -3. So it's -1 essentially times 2, which is -2, times -3, which is 6. Okay, now I'm going to plug in 1. So 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 minus 3 is -2. So it's -1 times 3 times -2. That is also 6. Interesting. And then you will see that when you plug in 2, that you do get 4. And that's because you get 4 times -1 times -1. Now, here's the thing. That confirms that, yes, our vertex x value is not a whole number. It does turn out that we do need to plug in, not 1.5. We need to plug in 0.5. to figure that one out. So you might need to use a calculator or Desmos to help you. So I plug in 0.5, I get 2.5 because a half plus 2. Then I plug in 2.5 here. Now 2.5 minus 3, that's -2.5. Okay, now this is true generally is when you have intercept form. Because the x of the vertex is in the middle, these numbers are always going to be opposites of each other. Because the absolute distance, right, if I took the absolute value of both of these, they would be the exact same. And that's because the absolute distance between the x of each intercept is the same, right? Because the intercept, the x of the vertex, rather, is always right in the middle of the x of the intercept. So that means the distance between the intercepts is the same on both sides of the vertex. So I plug in 0.5, and what I end up getting is 6.25. Okay. So you get something looking like this. Something looking like that. Nice. Okay. Now, let's talk about domain, range, etc. Domain. The domain is always -infinity to infinity. That's true of any quadratic. Okay, we know that because there's no breaks in the graph. You can trace your finger over it without picking it up. And the arrows indicate, right, it going on forever. The range. So the pointing down means it starts at negative infinity. And the highest we go, it's always, right, you're looking to the vertex here. 6.25 with a bracket because it means it never goes higher than 6.25. Okay, where is it increasing? So think about this. If this is a roller coaster, where's the roller coaster going up? From negative infinity, and then remember you use the x value to 0.5. Okay, then you get to the top of your roller coaster and you start going down from 0.5 to infinity. Now remember, and I've talked about this a good amount, don't forget you're always using x values. So the domain is x, the increasing is x, the decreasing is x. The only place you use y is in the range. Okay? And finally, the vertex is 0.5, 6.25, and it's worth noting that it is a maximum, and I know that because the a value is a negative, and that's going to cause it to point down, making it a maximum vertex. Okay, so hopefully you're able to get this right. Some really important stuff that we want to think about, right? We want to be able to graph, and we want to be able to do some analysis. So keep it up, folks. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone at the Hangout today. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget to love math.